Hello everyone, my name is Vaishnavi. I am from VVIT College Guntur. My roll number is 20BQ10485 and today I want to discuss about semiconductors. And now firstly, in semiconductors we will discuss about origin of energy bands in crystalline solids. See, here in first diagram it is an isolated atom, and in second diagram it is a crystalline solid in which 10 power 23 atoms are in bonding. Now in an isolated atom there are discrete energy levels such as 1s, 2s, 3s, which are occupied by the electron. We can see in figure A, we can see this clearly. There are discrete energy levels which are known as 1s, 2s, 2p and so on. When these isolated atoms are brought together to form a solid, various interactions occur between the neighboring atoms. And during this interaction, the higher energy levels are affected considerably, and consequently the energy levels of the outer shells are slightly altered without violating Pauli's exclusion principle. So, if we observe the second diagram, we can see that there are energy bands. The single every level of atoms split into large number of energy levels as shown in figure B. Since the separation between the split energy level is very small in this crystalline solid, the split energy levels are almost continuous and are said to form an energy band. In these energy band there are two types. First one is valence band and second is conduction band. And the lower one is known as valence band and the upper one is known as conduction band. Between these two there is forbidden band, which is also known as energy gap, and the valence band is said to be the lower energy level in which atoms are completely involved in bonding, and the condense band is said to be electrons are released free from bonding, and at 0 Kelvin the conduction band is empty, and at ordinary room temperature it is filled with electrons, where these electrons are transferred from valence band to energy band. And an electron in a solid can have only those discrete energies that lie within these energy bands. An energy band occupied by the valence electron is known as valence band, and the energy band which is empty or occupied by the conduction electrons is known as conduction band. Classification of crystalline solids. This classification is based on the band gap. If there is no band gap between valency band and conduction band, those solids are said to be conductors. If there is a small gap between valence band and conduction band, those solids are said to be semiconductors. If there is a large band gap or energy gap between valence band and conduction band, those are said to be insulators. Now, let us see. In insulators, solids behave as insulator if it satisfies the following two conditions. Let's see the conditions. Solids has even number of valence electrons per atom, and the valence band and the conduction band separated by large energy gap compared with KT, where KT is thermal energy. And if there is a large gap between valence band and conduction band, electrons can't jump from valence band to the conduction band. In insulators, the valence electrons are bounded tightly to their parent atoms, and here at 0 kelvins the valence band is completely filled, and the energy band gap between the valence band and conduction band is of order of 10 electron volts. An external electric field cannot provide this amount of energy to an electron in solid. So therefore, such solids behave as insulator because of no free electrons and available to conduct electricity. Now let us see about semiconductors. The gap between valence band and conduction band in semiconductors is less than the gap between valence and conduction bands in insulators, and more than in the conductors. Now, usually this gap is of order 1 electron volts. Examples of semiconductors are germanium and silicon. And germanium has a forbidden gap of 0.7 electron volt and silicon has 1.1 electron volt. Due to this small energy gap, the valence and the conduction band, the electrons of valence band can be thermally excited to the conduction band, where they are able to conduct small current on application of electric field to the crystal. At 0 Kelvin temperature, the semiconductor behaves as an insulator, but at room temperature, a semiconductor has the following peculiar properties. At room temperature, we can say that it is partially filled conduction band or partially filled valence band and very narrow energy band gap. Now let us see about conductors. In conductors, there is no forbidden gap and the valence band between the valence band and the conduction band. So it is observed that the valence band overlaps the conduction band and in metals as shown in figures. So there are number of sufficient free electrons available for electrical conduction. So hence there are number of free electrons for conduction. We can say these materials as conductors. Due to the absence of forbidden gap, there is no chance of the presence of holes. Hence, the total current in conduction is simply due to the flow of electrons only. In conductors, valence band itself behaves as conduction band. Due to the reason metal in general have high electron conductivity. Now let us discuss about chemical bonds in semiconductors. We know that the examples of semiconductors are germanium, silicon, etc. So these both germanium and silicon are tetravalent and they have 4 valence electrons in the outermost shell. Let us consider germanium. Its atomic number is 32 and its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 3d10, 4s1, 4p2. The outermost electrons are 4, which is having electronic configuration as 4s2, 4p2. And now, when the electron escapes from the covalent bond, an empty space is left behind, which is called as hole. In the figure 6.1a, we can see all the electrons are covalently bonded with one another in germanium atom. There is no ending for this covalent bonding, and there we can see each and every atom is covalently bonded with one another. In 6.1b, we can see there are holes formed because of the escape of the covalent bond. An empty space is left behind, which is called as hole. Now we can see that intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors. Intrinsic semiconductors. A semiconductor in which electrons and holes are solely created by thermal excitation is called a pure or intrinsic semiconductors. These intrinsic semiconductors are also known as pure semiconductors. These intrinsic semiconductors are created by thermal excitation, and the electrons reaching the conduction band due to thermal excitation leave equal number of vacancies or holes in valency band. So that means from this statement we can say that in an intrinsic semiconductor the number of free electrons is always equal to the number of holes as shown in above figure. Now extrinsic semiconductors. The electrical conductivity in pure germanium or silicon can be increased by adding impurity in the process of crystallization. The added impurity is very small, of the order of 1 atom per million atoms of the pure semiconductor. Such semiconductors are called as extrinsic semiconductors. Actually, these extrinsic semiconductors are formed by adding impurity to intrinsic semiconductors. The impurity may be pentavalent or trivalent. The suitable pentavalent elements are phosphorus, arsenic and antimony, and whereas the suitable trivalent elements are boron, aluminum and gallium. Depending on the type of impurity added, the impurity or extrinsic semiconductors can be divided into two classes. They are N-type semiconductors and P-type semiconductors. Firstly, N-type semiconductors. These N-type semiconductors are formed by adding pentavalent impurity to a crystal during the crystal growth. The resulting crystal is called N-type semiconductor. Let us consider the case when pentavalent arsenic is added to pure germanium crystals. The fifth electron of arsenic atom is not covalently bound, but it is loosely bound to the arsenic atom because in fourth group elements we have only 4 valence electrons, but in pentavalent elements we have 5 valence electrons. So only 4 are bonded and the remaining one is loosely bonded to the arsenic atom. Now by increasing the thermal energy we can break the bond and the electron can easily be excited to the valence band, from valence band to conduction band. So thus the arsenic atom contributes and conduction electron without creating a positive hole. Hence arsenic is called a donor element since it donates free electrons. So since the current carriers are negatively charged particles, this type of semiconductor is called N-type semiconductors. Now discussing about P-type semiconductors. When a trivalent impurity such as boron or aluminum is added to pure crystalline such as tetravalent during the crystal growth, the resultant is called a P-type semiconductor. Let us consider the tetravalent is boron is added to pure germanium crystal, and the germanium has 4 electrons in its outermost and the boron has only 3 electrons in its outermost. Only 3 are bonded and the remaining 1 electron and the remaining 1 electron of germanium is left. And there is a deficiency of 1 electron which is called a hole. Now the remaining 4th atom of the germanium also tries to form a covalent bond. So as the remaining 4th element of germanium also tries to form a covalent bond, it steals an electron from neighboring germanium atom. Due to this action, the hole is created in the adjacent atom, and this process continues and the hole moves about in a random way due to internal effects. So impurity atoms that contribute holes in this manner are termed as acceptors because they are accepting electrons from germanium atoms. Since current carriers are positively charged particles, so these type of semiconductors are called P-type semiconductors. Now discussing about Fermi energy level. Now in Fermi energy level in figure A we can see that this is intrinsic semiconductors. The Fermi energy level is in between the conduction band and valence band, exactly in between. And in figure B for N-type semiconductors, the Fermi energy level is towards the conduction band. That means the Fermi energy level is always towards the majority. Majority may be number of holes or number of electrons or number of electrons. Now in figure C for P-type semiconductors, the Fermi energy level is towards the valence band. So the maximum energy level occupied by a particle at 0 Kelvin temperature is known as Fermi energy level. Now let us talk about intrinsic carrier concentrations and this is also known as density of charge carriers and Fermi energy level in intrinsic semiconductors. Calculation of density of electrons. Let us consider that dn equals to g of E into f of E into dE, where dn be the number of electrons available between energy levels E and E plus dE in the conduction band, and where g of E dE is the density of electrons in the energy level E and E plus dE, and we also know that g of E dE is equals to 4 pi by h cube into 2m whole power 3 by 2 e power 1 by 2 dE. Since electron is moving in a periodic potential, its mass has to be replaced by its effective mass. Here mass is m and the effective mass is me star. So we want to replace m by me star. Hence g of E dE is equal to 4 pi by h cube into 2m star whole power 3 by 2 into e power half dE. Now E starts at the bottom of the conduction band, EC. Then we have that E, then we can write in the place of E as E minus EC, then G of E d is equals to 4 pi h cube into 2 m E star whole power 3 by 2 into E minus E whole power half dE. Now let us consider this 4 pi by h cube into 2 m E star whole power 3 by 2 as a, small a. So G of E d is equals to a into E minus EC whole power half dE. Now in equation 1, in equation 6.1, f of E is the probability occupancy of the electrons for a given energy level. That is, we can write this f of E as 1 by 1 plus exponential of E minus EF by KT. Now from equation 6.1, 6.2 and 6.3, we can see this equation 6.1, 6.2 and 6.3. We can write as dN equals to A into E minus EC whole power of into f of E d. We just substituted G of E d value here, and now we are integrating here. Now we are integrating here now to obtain total number of electrons in the conduction band at any temperature, we have to integrate the equation from EC to infinity. Here the limits are EC and infinity. After integrating, we will get dN is equal to integral of EC to infinity into A into E minus EC whole power of into, we know that f of E is equals to 1 by 1 plus exponential of E minus EF by KT and dE. And for all possible temperatures, E minus EF greater than KT, so that the term unity in the denominator is neglected. Then if we neglect the term 1 in denominator, we'll get it as n equals to integral of EC to infinity A into E minus EC whole power half into 1 by exponential of E minus EF by KT dE. Then if we can write 1 by e power x as 1 by e power minus x. So we can write where exp is exponential. So we can write it as integral of e to infinity a into e minus e whole power of into exponential of minus of e minus ef by kt dE. Now multiplying this minus, we will get n equals to a into integral of ec to infinity e minus ec whole power half into exponential of ef minus e by kt dE, where it can be written as a into exponential of ef by kt into integral of ec by infinity into e minus ec whole power half exponential of minus e by kt dE, where exponential of ef by kt is a constant. And to solve this integral, let us take e minus ec equals to x, and then we will get e equals to ec plus x, and we will get dE is equals to dx by integrating it. Now its lower limit is ec minus ec equals to x. Its lower limit is ec. So if we substitute this in x equals to e minus ec, we will get ec minus ec equals to x. So x equals to 0, and by the similar process we will get upper limit as infinity. So from 6.5, we can see 6.5 here, and from 6.5 n equals to a into exponential of ef by kt integral of 0 to infinity x power half exponential of minus ec minus x by kt dx. So these are the new limits. After substituting e minus ec as x, we got minus e as minus ec minus x. And now Here we can conclude that the exponential of minus Ec by kt is also constant. So we can write it out of integration. So a into exponential of ef by kt exponential of minus Ec by kt into integral of 0 to 8 x power half exponential of minus x by kt in kt dx. So e power ef by kt into e power minus ec by kt means we can write e power y into e power x as e power x plus y. So we can write it as e power ef minus ec by kt. So by combining this, a into exponential of ef minus ec by kt into integral of 0 to x power half into exponential of minus x by kt dx. We know integral of 0 to x power half exponential minus x dx is equals to root of pi by 2, and integral of 0 to infinity x power half exponential of minus x by kt is equals dx is equals to kt power 3 by 2 into root pi by 2. Now equation 6.6 becomes, now by substituting this formula it becomes n is equal to a into exponential of ef minus ec by kt into kt power 3 kt whole power 3 by 2 root pi by 2. N is equal to 4 pi by h cube 2me star 3 pi by 2 whole power 3 pi by 2 exponential of ef minus ec by kt and kt whole power 3 by 2 into root pi by 2. We get this equation by substituting a value again, and now n is equals to 2 into 2 pi me star into kt by h square whole power 3 by 2. We just combine all whole powers 3 by 2 and write this equation into exponential of ef minus ec by kt. Now calculation of density of holes. Let us consider dp, where dp is the number of holes available between energy interval E and E plus dE in the valence band, and dp is equals to g of E into 1 minus f of E dE. We know that g of E dE is equals to 4 pi by h cube into 2m whole power 3 by 2 e power half dE, where g is the density of force in the energy interval E and E plus dE. And now by replacing the mass by effective mass, we will get, where effective mass is mh star, we will get g of E dE is equal to 4 pi by h cube into 2mh star whole power 3 by 2 e power half dE. Now EV is the energy of the top of the valence band, so we can replace E by EV minus V. So we will get it as g of E dE is equal to 4 pi by h cube 2mh star whole power 3 by 2 into EV minus E whole power half dE. We will consider this 4 pi by h cube into 2mh star whole power 3 by 2 as B. So we will get g of E dE equal to B into EV minus E whole power half dE. In the 6-point equation, 1 minus F is the probability of existence of holes in the valence band. So for all possible temperatures C minus EF less than KT, then we can write 1 minus EF as 1 minus 1 by 1 plus exponential of EF minus E by KT, and we can also write it as whole by we can also write this reciprocal as whole power 1 minus 1. So 1 minus 1 plus exponential of E minus EF by KT whole power 1. And neglecting the higher terms, we will get 1 minus 1 plus exponential of E minus EF of KT. So finally 1 and minus 1 are cancelled, and we will get exponential of E minus EF by KT. And now we will substitute these g of E and 1 minus f of E in dp. We will get dp is equals to b into ev minus e whole power half into exponential of E minus ef by kt dE. By integrating this with the limits of minus infinity to ev, we will get p is equals to integral of minus infinity to e b into ev minus e whole power half exponential of E minus ef by kt dE. And by finally substituting the value of b, we will get p is equals to 2 into 2 pi mh star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of ev minus ef by kt. Next, talking about intrinsic carrier concentrations. In an intrinsic semiconductor, N is equals to P is equals to Ni is called intrinsic carrier concentrations, where Ni square is equals to Np is equals to, we know that N equals to P equal to Ni, so we can write it Ni square as N into P. So we can write it as 4 into 2 pi kt by h square whole power 3 into me star into mh star into whole power 3 by 2 exponential of ev minus ec by kt. By solving this, we will get 4 into 2 pi kt by h square whole cube into me star into mh star into 3 by 2 exponential of minus eg by kt, where ec minus ev is equal to eg is a forbidden energy gap. Hence, where ec is conduction energy band, energy of conduction band, and ev is energy of valence band, we will get by subtracting energy of conduction band from energy of valence band from energy of conduction band, we will get eg, which is forbidden energy gap. So finally, we can write Ni equals to 2 into 2 pi kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into me star into mh star whole power 3 by 4 exponential of minus eg by 2 kt. Next, Fermi energy level in intrinsic semiconductors. Since we know that N equals to P in intrinsic semiconductors, we can equate these N and P. That means 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of ef minus ec by kt equals to 2 into 2 pi mh star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of ev minus ef by kt. And by doing all the possible cancellations, we will get exponential of 2 ef by kt is equals to mh star by me star whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of ev plus ec by kt. As we want Fermi energy level, that means we need ef here, so we want to get rid of this exponential first, so we'll apply log on both sides. We'll get 2 ef by kt is equals to 3 by 2 into log of mh star by me star plus ev plus ec by kt. Then ef is equals to 3 kt by 4. Then we'll multiply with kt and divide with 2 on our right side, so we'll get ef is equals to 3 kt by 4 log of mh star by me star plus ev plus ec by 2. So if we assume that me star equal, as this is just a condition, we are assuming that me star is equals to mh star, then we will get log 1. As we know that log 1 is equals to 0, this whole 3 kt by 4 into log e mh star by me star will become 0. Then we will get ef equal to ev plus ec by 2. Now we can observe diagram here for the explanation. Variation of Fermi energy level with respect to temperature. We can see the graph above, and thus Fermi energy level is located halfway between the valency band and the conduction band, T equals to 0 K. From graph we can see that EV is energy of valence band, EC is energy of conduction band, and EF is energy of Fermi forbidden gap, and on x-axis we have T and on y-axis we have E. That means this graph shows us variation of Fermi energy level with respect to temperature. With increase in temperature, the Fermi level is displaced towards conduction band if mh star greater than me star, or downwards to valence band if mh star less than me star, well, as shown in the figure above. Here, Fermi energy level is displaced towards conduction band if mh star is, that means if mh star greater than me star, that means if effective mass of holes greater than effective mass of electrons, the Fermi level is displaced towards conduction band. And if mh star less than me star, the Fermi level is displaced towards valence band, that is downwards. In most of intrinsic materials, the shift of Fermi level on account of Me star not equals to M star is insignificant. So, the Fermi level in intrinsic semiconductor may be considered as independent of temperature as it is in the middle of the band gap. And now we'll see about extrinsic carrier concentrations. There are two types, p-type and n-type. Now we'll see about n-type carrier concentration. We all know that n-type semiconductors are obtained by adding pentavalent impurity atoms to the intrinsic semiconductors. Here from the diagram we can see that Nd and Ed, where Nd is donor concentration and Ed is donor energy level. And at very low temperatures we can see that all energy levels are filled with electrons, but with the increase of temperature the electrons break their bond and they started jumping from valence bond to conduction band. Thus the electrons in conduction band increases. We know that the density of electrons in the conduction band from equation 1, that is n equals to 2 into 2 pi me star into kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 exponential of Ef minus Ec by kt. The density of ionized donors must be equal to density of electrons in the conduction band at very low temperature. From this statement we can write that Nd into 1 minus f of Ed is equals to 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of Ef minus Ec by kt, where Nd is the donor concentration and Ed is donor energy level. Now we know that 1 minus f of Ed is equals to exponential of Ed minus Ef by kt, and now we can write it as Nd into exponential of Ed minus Ef by kt is equals to 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of Ef minus Ec by kt. Now we'll apply log on both sides. We'll get log Nd as log AB is equal to log A plus log B, then log Nd plus log of exponential means log and exponential will get cancelled, then there will be remain Ed minus Ef by kt, and the other side also log AB means log A plus log B, then we will get log of 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 plus log and exponential will get cancelled and Ef minus Ec by kt. Now if we take the two log terms to one side and the remaining to one side, we will get 2 Ef minus Ec minus Ed by kt is equals to log E of log A minus log B means log A by log B, log Nd by log of Nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2. Then we will write it as, if we multiply the kt to the right side, then we will get 2 Ef minus Ec minus Ed is equals to kt into log E of Nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2. Then if we take these negative terms to the right side of the equation, we will get 2 Ef is equals to Ec plus Ed plus kt into log of Nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2. Then finally we will get Ef is equals to Ec plus Ed by 2 plus kt by 2 into log of Nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2. Now if we assume that at T is equals to 0 Kelvin, then we will get Ef equal to Ec plus Ed by 2, because it T means second term will totally become 0. Next, substitute the value of Ef from equation 2 in equation 1. We will get, by doing this we will get Ne is equals to 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of into exponential of ed plus ec by 2 plus kt by 2 log of nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt whole power 3 by 2 minus ec by kt. Now we'll just take LCM. In the exponential term we'll get ed plus ec plus kt into log of nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 minus 2 ec whole by 2 by 2 kt. By multiplying this we'll get whole by 2 to the denominator, we'll get whole by 2 kt. Now we'll write this as 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of ed minus ec by 2 kt plus half into log of these 2 kt will get cancelled and we'll get half into log of nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2. Now if in the exponential term, if in the exponential of second term, if we take the 1 by 2 to the power, we will get log of nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 whole power 1 by 2. And now we can write this as 2 into 2 pi me star kt whole power 3 by 2 exponential of ed minus ec by 2 kt into nd by 2 into 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 2 whole power 1 by 2. And now finally we can write it as n equal to 2 nd whole power 1 by 2 and 2 pi me star kt by h square whole power 3 by 4 into exponential of ed minus ec by 2 kt where ne is directly proportional to root nd. Next we'll see variation of Fermi energy level with temperature. As shown in figure, with increase of temperature, Fermi energy level increases slightly by the following equations. We know that EF equal to EC plus ED by 2 plus KT by 2 into log of ND by 2 into 2 pi me star KT by h square whole power 3 by 2. So as the temperature increases more and more, the donor atoms are ionized and is completely ionized at a particular temperature. So further increase in temperature, the Fermi level moves towards EI as shown in the figure. Now we'll discuss about p-type carrier concentrations. A p-type semiconductor is obtained by doping a trivalent impurity atoms to the intrinsic semiconductor. And from the figure we know that Na is acceptor concentration and Ed is donor energy level. And at low temperature all the acceptor levels are empty. Why? With the increase of temperature, more and more acceptor atoms get ionized. So we know the density of holes in the valence band. P is equals to NH is equals to 2 into 2 pi mh star KT by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of EV minus EF by KT. And by the density of ionized acceptors must be equal to density of holes in a valence band at very low temperature. So from this we'll equalize this NH to Na into F of Ea. We know that F of Ea equals to EF minus E exponential of EF minus Ea by KT. So if we substitute this in F of Ea, we'll get Na into exponential of EF minus Ea by KT equal to 2 into 2 pi mh star KT by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of EV minus EF by KT. If we apply log on both sides, we'll get, by simplifying that, EV minus EF by EF plus Ea by KT equals to log E Na minus log E to 2 pi mh star KT by h square whole power 3 by 2. Now by taking the log times to the same side, and we'll get 2 EF minus of EA plus EV by KT equal to minus log E NA by 2 into 2 pi m h star into KT by h square whole power 3 by 2. Now by solving this, we will get EF is equal to EA plus EV by 2 minus KT by 2 into log of NA by 2 into 2 pi m h star KT by h square whole power 3 by 2. At t equal to 0, we will get EF is equal to EA plus EV by 2. By substituting equation 5 and equation 4, we will get P is equal to NH equal to 2 into 2 pi mH star KT by h square whole power 3 by 2 into exponential of EV minus EF by KT. Now, by solving this similar to the n-type carrier concentration, we will get NH is equals to 2Na whole power 1 by 2, 2 pi mH star KT by h square whole power 3 by 4 and exponential of EV minus EA by 2 KT, where Na is directly proportional to root of Na. Next, variation of Fermi energy level with temperature. Fermi energy level decreases slightly by the following equation. So the temperature increases more and more except our atoms are ionized, and these are completely ionized at the particular temperature. So further increase in temperature, the Fermi energy level moves towards EA as shown in figure.